Welcome back, Tiger fans, to Rockin' Radio's football podcast. I'm Nate Edwards. That's Nathan Hurst, and this is Before the Box Score, your signing day edition. Missouri, assumingly, is keeping all fax machines employed, much like most college universities at this point, especially on signing day, especially for the football team, faxing in their letters of intent, making it official that they're going to be playing for their college team. It's a great day for high schoolers across the board, and it's just does not have the same impact as it used to 10 years ago. Hurst, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I think there are literally two organizations that keep fax machines in business, the NCAA and the IRS.
There you go.
And both of those are very large and lucrative operations, so I don't think the fax machine technology is going anywhere anytime soon.
No, it is not. And that's okay. Keeps jobs going, I guess. We're all happy about it.
It's a job creator, I guess.
Look at that. Just keeping America employed. So it was kind of a sleepy day. You had a couple decommits, which was not great to see, but otherwise, everybody else signed on the dotted line. Missouri's class comes out to 34th, according to the 247 composite. A couple blue chippers in here, a lot of 3-star projects coming in. And then you also had your head coach who stood up there in front of everybody on signing day and said, "Hey, it's not as important as it used to be. It's been de-emphasized thanks to the portal, and we're gonna react accordingly." So yeah, it's a great day for these seniors and for the guys who got quartered for the past year. It's just because you can now add instant new players and see them play, and typically freshmen don't. It's just it's a bit of a longer play, but I don't know. What's your vibe about the 2026 Missouri Tiger recruiting class?
This class, it's kind of the vibe of the entire enterprise, to be honest, not just Mizzou's class. It's just very kind of anticlimactic. I think, and that's not to say anything about the individual players that have signed. It's more like I can remember just a short 2 or 3 years ago on early signing day. You're talking about nutso stories across the country, crazy flips, big, moms not letting players commit to where they or sign where they want to sign, and running out the door with pins so they can't sign on the dotted line. Weird stuff, crazy stuff. And just today is just kind of just like, yep, I guess it's a signing day. I guess here it is, but nothing weird, nothing crazy happening. It's kind of boring and not very fun. Exciting day for all these young men that are, committing to where they're going to play at least for one more year. But that's the other part of it is it used to be you were committing, this is where I'm going to spend the next 4 years of my life. And now here's where I'm going to spend the next, I'll probably go to graduate and then spend the next at least 6 months of my life. And then we'll see where it goes from there. Yeah. Not quite the same. Just not the same.
It's not. It used to be, you were committing to school for 4 years. And so it used to be you would have all these stories on the incoming freshmen. You would have eventually, kind of like in the nascent times of social media, you'd have videos come out about the new guys coming in. Usually they'd have like they get paired with a buddy system, an older brother kind of already on the team, and that person would interview them, or you'd have videos of them talking about their experiences moving in. And then, the beat reporters would be there and they could talk to them and get their stories. And then you had 4 years to kind of build this relationship, see them climb the depth chart, develop, or burst out onto the scene, however it came out. And then they started taking away the access to the freshmen. So beat reporters really couldn't build that rapport, build that story. You didn't really know these guys as well as you thought you did. You see clips here or there, but it was hard to tell, especially with football players and the helmets. Sometimes it's tough to tell who's who. And then, you get the transfer rule. And it's like, hey, actually, you can transfer and you can play, without having to sit out. And so there's a lot more movement there. And then you had NIL, and then you had where we're at now. And so now, it's cool. You just lock down the next 8 months and you're probably going to be finishing your career somewhere else. So there's no heartbreak of, oh my God, how do we let that guy go? We'll never get to give him now it's just like, oh, we didn't get you out of high school. Okay, we'll get you back in the portal if we need to. It's just, it does not have as much weight, which I think is good. You don't want to get locked in or locked out, or however you want to do it for both sides. You always want to keep that hope. You want to have that opportunity to bring in more talent. So it's good on both sides. It's just, If you're nostalgic about signing day or like a February signing day, if you're nostalgic about that, then this probably sucks for you.
Yeah, the stakes are way lower, and thus the just the overall interest is is way lower, I think. And I don't think anyone is necessarily worse off for that. It's
No.
just different, you know.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
different.
It's different. So just to run it down, your flips, Micah Nickerson, who was Mississippi State, then Mizzou, committed to Mississippi State. Tony Forney, who was one of the earlier commits to Mizzou, he went to Pittsburgh. But other than that, I think it was everybody else, right? I'm not
Running
forgetting
back
anybody.
flipped yesterday to Arkansas.
Yeah, Terry Hodges, is that what it was?
Hodges,
TJ
yes.
Hodges.
TJ
Yeah,
Hodges, yep.
yeah. So yeah, I mean that sucks. That sucks. But you still have Johnny Jones, top 140 player in the country, offensive tackle. Taj Overton, a defensive 4-star defensive tackle. J.J. Bush, Jaden McGregory, Jackson Gates. Those are your 4-star high schoolers. You got DeMarcus Johnson, the number 1 JUCO defensive tackle from Hutchinson Community College. He signed. And then you got your 3-star projects, the guys who are going to be building for a while. Your quarterback of the class, Gavin Sidwar, Brandon Anderson, interior lineman, Jabari Brady, wide receiver, Keenan Harris, safety, linebacker, kind of depends on how many Uncrustables he wants to eat. Bryson Wessel, a defensive tackle, Khalif Canny, the offensive tackle, Braylon Ellison, you've seen him on Trudek's show, son of one of the coaches that's currently on staff. T. Ellison, one of my favorite players when I was growing up. He's an interior offensive lineman currently. Devion Hill-Lomax, the receiver. Brody Jones, a safety. Ahmad Billings, projected as a corner, but kind of an athlete. Isaac Jensen, a tight end out of Omaha, Nebraska. Maxwell Warner, your running back out of Chicago. And then Carter Stewart, the safety out of Texas. That's what we have. Just running that down. I know you and I have looked at the tape. We've talked about it before. You can read the write-ups from Trudek and all the other staff members. Who's the gem here? It's easy to say Johnny Jones just because he's the highest rated one, but which of these guys are you most excited for?
I mean, I'm always going to lean towards the big guys and, on both the trenches. So Johnny Jones, of course, Taj Overton, big time flip from Oklahoma State when Gundy was fired a couple months ago. I mean, honestly, of all, so both those guys kind of jump off the page at you as the most exciting and probably the two guys that are going to have the best chance of seeing the field early of this class, just because of the turnover on both of the lines.
Sure.
The guy that really excites me, I think, is J.J. Bush, the linebacker out of Alabama. I'm not necessarily sure he's going to play immediately, but really athletic, runs really well. I mean, he's a little bigger than Josiah Trotter, but I think he plays a lot in a similar way. And if he can learn behind Trotter for a year, and kind of see how this defense works, I could see him getting on the field by the time he's a sophomore or at least a second year player. He when he first committed, I was really excited about him, and it's kind of only gotten more so the case.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a good one. I personally, DeMarcus Johnson, the JUCO defensive tackle, number 1 JUCO player in a position of need. Now he's a little interesting. I'm not exactly sure what the staff wants to do with him, mostly because, I mean, his listed playing size is 6'7", 260. That's pretty tall for a tackle, and that's actually pretty light for a tackle, at least in the SEC. Do you bump him out as more of an edge rusher, maybe an edge setter, like just a pure like old school defensive end, like a strong side defensive end, that like we used to call it? Is that where he's going to play? How do they want to use him? He was very disruptive at Hutchinson, and he's just a big kid. I think a SEC weightlifting program, and weight management program is going to do him a lot of wonders. It's only going to be 8 months until he's playing, though, so I don't know what that looks like. But I am excited to see what he can do. Not only is he coming to a position of need, but he's older, right? I think he'll be a sophomore, so he's got tape. Maybe, yes, it's against JUCO, but he's got tape. So I'm really curious about him. On the offensive side, Devion Hill-Lomax. I don't know. Most of my interest stems from this, and I don't know if it's true, but he's listed at 6'4", 180. He would be the tallest receiver by far. Now, he's also one of the lighter ones. But how do they want to use him? Missouri tends to not really recruit those big jump ball guys. Like Donovan Olubide's got that skill set. He's 6'2". I know there's not a huge difference between 6'4" and 6'2", but like that, if you're 6'4", you can hold a little bit more weight. Is this more of a kind of more body, like box him out kind of receiver? Is that what we want to develop him into? What is his skill set? I saw what he can do against high school. I just don't know what it's going to be in the SEC. So I'm really curious how that goes, especially with the issues with the passing game this year. And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm pointing fingers at everybody. But I'm curious if he can get some playing time and how they want to use him.
Yeah, as far as Lomax goes, he's a long strider. I think he's going to be an outside deep threat, or at least that's what they hope he turns into. Looking at high school tape, it's impossible to really judge speed too much, just because they're playing against future community college accounting majors. So it's hard to tell. But based on his long stride, he looks like he is moving fast. So I would have to think he'll be at least initially slide outside. I also am intrigued with Demarcus Johnson. I think they're going to. He's very similar in build to Langdon Kitchen, who will also be back as a much larger defensive end. They use Kitchen, especially later in the season, a lot more as an edge setter on the edge, and I think that's probably where he slots in the best, is on rundowns on the edge, or running downs, early downs, or short yardage. But also, I could see him being kind of more of that pony pass rush package on like 3rd and long, where you're bringing in 4 pass rushers and he lines up on the inside because he can play in there, and he's not necessarily going to be expected to fill a gap, but he's quick enough to get by a guard or slide between a guard and a center on those pass rushing downs. So they can be creative with how a guy like that can be used.
Well, yeah. You don't get a lot of JUCO anymore, especially since you can just go to the portal and get a guy. But Tristan Newsom has worked out really, really well. And as a JUCO, thanks to Diego Pavia, that year doesn't count towards your NCAA eligibility clock. So he has a year of experience at community college. He still has another 5 years to play for.
Yeah, because he didn't play this year. He played his freshman year and then actually sat out this season.
Oh, there you go.
Knowing that he was going to transfer into, to a major college program. So yeah, he's got 5 years to play for, like you said. So even if he doesn't get on the field much his first year, he's still got a lot more eligibility left.
Yeah. So it could be a long play, and he's a big kid already. A kid. I mean, he's almost 21 at this point, but I'm really curious how they want to use him, and I do see some value in the pony packaging. You usually saw Darius Smith kind of line up on the inside and play that this year, and just get a lot of speed out there, and it's been great. So yeah, that's very exciting. So I mean, this class ends up being 34th, and there's going to be some maneuvering as final things come in through today, and there's going to be adjustments on rankings eventually, and so that'll fluctuate a little bit. This class ain't jumping to top 20. All right, that's just not going to be the case. So let's just take it as it is and say, all right, it's going to be 34th. That's going to finish as the lowest ranked, and I'm not counting 2020, the lowest ranked Eli Drinkwitz high school recruiting class. The previous record for that, and we've talked about this before, but I'll say it again, was the 2023 class, which finished at 32nd. And what's the caveat there, Nathan Hurst? You know that one. It included Marvin Burks. It included Josh Manning. It included Brett Norfleet. It included Marquise Johnson, guys who saw the field early. So it's good on the macro. It's not accurate on the micro. It doesn't mean anything. How do you feel about that little number 34 sitting next to it?
It doesn't bother me at all, because A, it's way better than it was in July when it was like 84. B, it just is a direct evidence of the strategy that this coaching staff is taking in roster building. And it's you got X amount of dollars. It's not an unlimited amount of money that Mizzou has to spend on bringing in the new roster. So you're going to see what are the 4 or 5 best guys we can get in out of high school that hopefully can play soon. Those blue chip guys, you got those. You got Johnny Jones and Taj Overton, Jackson Gates, JJ Bush. You can toss DeMarcus Johnson into that list if you want to. And then a bunch of guys that are developmental plays that they come in, they're not going to cost a whole lot of money. You're going to hope that they like it and they see their own development and see a path to playing, in which case they stick around more than a year, and hopefully down the road, 2-3 years from now, they're to a point where they're ready to play. And if they're not, and they choose to move on, the only thing that you've lost is the time that could have been spent with a different 3-star, potentially developing them. So the rest of those resources will then be used in the portal every year. And I expect a very active transfer portal season from Mizzou to fill in a lot of gaps. And we'll talk about in the next week or two some of those roster areas that they're going to need to address more specifically. But they're gonna have money to spend, and they're going to spend it, and that's where they're going to spend it. They're not going to spend it on incoming freshmen that very likely won't be here next year, whether because they can't play or they come back wanting, they don't play but still want more money. And Drinkwitz has already said he's not paying more money for someone who hasn't played and proven it on the field. So that's a lot more trouble than it's worth to go that route for more than these 4 or 5 guys that you really feel good about, either sticking around or playing early.
Yeah. I mean, he's been very clear about that, and he's been very consistent about it. Kwan Lacey, Courtney Crutchfield, DJ Wesselak, Williams Winery, Jalen Brown. These were big gets out of high school. And he said it in front of microphones with reporters sitting there writing down his words. Like, he said freshmen come to him, incoming freshmen come to him, or, rising freshmen come to him, and they perceive themselves to have more value than what they are getting from the program, from Mizzou. And he said that's just not where our priorities are. It's just not. Like, given where this school is, and every school's got a limit, there's finite resources. Just given what that limit is for Mizzou, we're not going to pay you more for having done nothing. We're just not. So you saw those guys leave, and that sucks. But to your point, you take that money and you invest it somewhere else. You invest it back in the portal. And think about what they got out of that. Right? You're looking at like Keegan Trost, probably bargain bin kind of offensive tackle, 7th year, but you're able to get him. Surprise, he's the best offensive lineman that we have this year. You look at Kevin Coleman. You get to get him out of, yes, he was kind of a bit of a rolling stone, but you got him out of Mississippi State, brought him here. Most reliable receiver that we had this year. Okay. Game-winning punt return against Arkansas. Bo Pribula, your bridge quarterback while Matt Zollers gets acclimated. Damon Wilson, Darius Smith. Yes, you're losing your freshman 5 stars and 4 stars guys. I think you'd like to have them stick around, but you're getting dudes with 2 and 3 years of tape that are good, who have played at this level, and how they can do it.
Ahmad Hardy.
Okay? Ahmad Hardy. And I think one of the reasons Mizzou has done so well with the portal is because that is where their investment is. They can go to these guys and say, look, you are the piece that we need, and we can pay you this. I'm not saying Missouri's got a war chest comparable to Alabama or Ohio State, but I guarantee you they're forking over a lot of money to their freshmen. How much do they have set aside for the portal? And at some point, it's going to match what Mizzou has, and Mizzou can keep going because they're not going to be wasting their money on guys who are just sitting on the bench. So it is the strategy that Mizzou has. It lessens the impact of their high school signing day even further, but that's okay because their ability to scout and develop and find talent out of the portal, I'm not going to sit here and say it's the best in the country, but boy, very few misses from this staff on portal acquisitions.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Keegan Trost. If Power 4 programs knew he was going to play like he did this season, he would not have ended up at Mizzou. He would have ended up at an Oregon or a Georgia or a Texas or an Oklahoma, who ended up starting a true freshman at right tackle. He would have ended up somewhere else for way more money than Mizzou paid him. But they identified him and said, hey, he can fit in our scheme. He's good at running these outside zone runs, blocking these outside zone schemes, and that's what we need out of our right tackle. And they went and got him. And, who knows? He may end up seeing himself being a 3rd-day draft pick, which was not the case last year.
We'll see. Yeah. So it's a good strategy. It has been working, and it's a really good pitch because, more than anything, Eli Drinkwitz loves to harp on something to prove, and for a guy who's leaving a school because he doesn't feel like he's valued or he's not getting a fair shot, boy, something to prove. That's music in their ears, man. That's that gets that competitive spirit going. And oh, by the way, you're going to cash a pretty nice check to go along with it too. So I think it's a really good way to do it. Yeah, it's a little mercenary. Yeah, you probably don't know these players super well. How many wins does Missouri have over the past 3 years? 29, right? Something like that. 28, 29.
29. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's working just
it's working. It's working.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we've already had the portal activity starting up. If you rewind your brain to the beginning of the year, Caleb Pyfrom, the interior lineman from Nebraska, he entered the portal pretty early in the season. And Caleb Flagg, brother of Corey Flagg from last year, he, after I think it was 4 games, he decided to hit the portal and go somewhere else. So there's already 2 guys that were in there. But then there's been more. James Madison, the president, he's off to greener pastures. That we're just going to call that a casualty of the Donovan Olugbide effect, since they were both on the same spot for the roster, and Donovan is a year younger and already seen the field. So I think Jimmy Prez saw the writing on the wall, and he's talented, but he's not going to usurp Donovan. So he went off. And then Brendan Haygood, the 4-star receiver or running back from Texas,
North Carolina.
Same thing, man. Same thing. Ahmad Hardy's coming back. Jamal Roberts is probably coming back. And the running back who was getting carries 40 times against Louisiana was not Brendan Haygood. So I get it. They're off.
And there's Marquise Davis right there, same age as him as well, who got more carries. I think Haygood got 4 snaps on the season. Davis was getting those kind of cleanup snaps early in the year.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sucks, but I don't really see anybody freak out about it. This all makes tons of sense.
Yeah, and people are used to it by now. A guy that never played is leaving. Yeah, that makes sense. Hopefully he finds some place that he's able to find the field on. Good luck to him. 10 years ago that may not have been the case. Fans might have been a little more perturbed about it, but I think people have finally gotten used to the idea that it's okay if a player who isn't going to play moves on and plays somewhere else.
Yeah, it's let's see here, the most portal losses Mizzou's had was the 22-23 transfer portal when they lost 19 guys. That was probably the worst. 2021 had 19 as well. Okay, so 19 is the worst. Last year was 17. And that's, who knows? Who knows where this ends up? But overall, you brought in 17 last year. You brought in 14 the year before that, 11 the year before that. So, I mean, it's been picking up as far as what Missouri's been bringing in. But, yeah, I'm not going to sweat it. It does not bother me. And I think that's a good thing. I'm glad people are getting used to it. But you can play this game at home. Go look at the roster and see who has not really gotten snaps or anything like that. And they're still got 3 years to go. They're probably gone, frankly. So then you can kind of do the math on your own. Any lasting thoughts on signing day, portal, anything?
I think the one other interesting thing was Drinkwitz said in his press conference today, of the 18 freshmen, not the JUCO, but of the 18 incoming freshmen, 15 of them are going to be early enrollees, which is a crazy percentage. It used to be, 10 years ago, if you got 3,
like
two or 3, like, okay, cool. Wow, that's amazing. 15 of the 18 are at least as of now going to be early enrollees, which is crazy. And I think that's another sign of the times where these incoming freshmen are told, you need to get in there and get on the field as soon as you can if you want to have a chance to win a spot on this roster and aren't going to be looking for a new home again next year. And so they're taking it to heart now. Is that the best for them? Missing their high school prom, missing, a lot of those, senior memories that a lot of us still have, that's their own decision. But that's how it is.
I'm sure, there's plenty of, you fast forward the clock 20 years from now and they'll probably regret it. But in the moment, you're already making money. Like, hey, I can have maybe not generation altering money, but like I can help everybody around me in a better spot. I'll wipe my tears with these $100 bills, man. Like it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Like I'll recreate prom once I get famous. Just
Or I
uh
guess you could always go home for the weekend if you
yeah, there
wanted
you
to.
go.
You can afford it. They
Yeah,
can afford it now. They can fly home,
they
and
can. Yeah.
so
Yeah. There you go.
I
That'll be
guess they could
fine.
do
That'll
that.
be fine. Yeah. Okay.
The
Well,
siren
let's talk
call, the
about
siren call of college campus as a senior year in high school, I guess probably has some appeal as well.
there's some benefits there as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Um but let's talk about the benefits of sticking with the job that you got because Eli Drinkwitz, we didn't talk about this on the post Arkansas show, Arkansas game show because we're too busy trolling our rivals. But yeah, Eli, he's sticking around. Signed an extension with Missouri. We have yet to really see any of the contract details. Guess no one FOIA'd it or Sunshine Law'd it or whatever. But we will figure it out eventually. But we do know that he is going to be sticking around. We do know that he's got a pretty substantial increase in salary, pool of money for his staff, probably another re-up in NIL commitments from across the state because that's what he was looking for. He has been very vocal about what he was looking for, especially those last couple games of the season when he was talking to national reporters on the sideline and before and after the game. He was clear on what he wanted, and it sounds like that the board of curators provided that to him. Now, here's the thing. He was interviewing at other places. I think we can all be adults about this. You would be, if somebody wanted to hire you, you would hear them out. Okay. Even if you liked your job, you're going to hear them out. And especially if it's a place that is considered one of the best in your industry, yeah, you're going to talk to them and see what's up and see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to crib a little bit from local and national reporters, but I think you'll remember that the national reporting side basically wrote him off, said he was not going to be at Mizzou next year. And the local guys are feeling pretty good that he was going to stick around, but there's a little bit of, I don't know. So we know now that he interviewed with Auburn, he interviewed with Florida, he interviewed at Penn State, and he interviewed at LSU. And according to Yahoo, that LSU interview was the week of Oklahoma. Now, I don't know if Eli physically went there, if it was a Zoom, or if it was just his agent. But that is reported from Stephen Godfrey at Yahoo that it was Ole Miss's bye week, which was the Oklahoma week for Mizzou. And the feedback from the schools was that they really, really liked him. They just wasn't their top choice. So think of you're in Eli Drinkwitz's shoes right here, and you know that this is all a big game and it's kind of a risky game. You have had you or your representation have had 4 conversations with 4 different institutions who say, great, we'll get back to you. And then there's just nothing. And you're seeing the Lane Kiffin drama play out. And you go, oh, this MFer is going to drag this out way too long. He and I are overlapping for some jobs. And you know you have an extension from Mizzou on the table. And you probably know what's going to be in it, and you're good with it. Probably just felt a little exposed. Plus the fact that we know that the Drinkwitzes like Columbia. They like being there. His family likes being there. I think it seemed like he just felt overly exposed with all these interviews and took what he could actually take at that time because the process was drawn out. Like you and I talked about, signing days coming up, portal days coming up, like you can't drag it out any further. So instead of being, the backup to the prom, he just said, screw it, I'm going to stick with the ones that actually want me and sign the extension. So that's how he ended up here. Now he's still got something to prove for now, right? Because he's not good enough for anybody else. And he can keep building on this, and he's got the program that he wants in place and the approach that he wants, and it's worked. How do you feel about all of this?
I mean, that's part of the game is, if you have a successful season, or seasons plural, back to back to back, your coach, unless you're at the top echelon of college football, and even if you are, your coach is still going to get overtures probably from the NFL. Yeah. That's just how it goes. If it's a champagne problem to have, where that means you're having success, you're doing something, your program is accomplishing something that others want to accomplish as well. So that's a good problem to have. Yes, if you have an opportunity to interview with an organization that is at the top of your field, you're going to take that, even if it doesn't mean you don't think you're going to take an offer if given to you. You're still going to hear them out and learn more. Absolutely. And so, that's how it goes. Props for him for getting those calls. That means he's
Uh-huh.
good at his job if an LSU wants to talk to you. That means that you're doing a lot of, not just one thing, you're doing a lot of things right. It means that you have the respect of those top programs. And so what that means for Mizzou is that the program that he's built at Mizzou has respect of those top programs, and that's a good place to be. Ultimately, I think he's figured, yes, I'm going to stay where I know where I am. I know where I'm wanted. I know what the lay of the land is here. It's a place that has given me everything that I've asked for, and they're going to give me more because I'm going to ask for more, and they're going to give it to me, and I will stay here. And ultimately, hopefully that's the right decision for him. Hopefully it's the right decision for Mizzou as well. You always get a little nervous when you start looking at these outrageous buyouts and long contracts out to 20. I think this latest one is around 2032, if I'm remembering. Which that's a long time. But it tells him that he's got some wiggle room here, and he wasn't getting, he could go 8-4, 3 more years in a row. He's not going to get fired. He could go 8-4, 4 years in a row at Florida, and he would definitely get fired. Same with LSU, probably the same with Penn State as well. But that's just it's just a different place, different expectations, and does it mean he's not going to take overtures from other programs in the future? No, it does not mean that at all. But hopefully, if that's the case, that means he's continuing to have success here, and that's really all that I care about.
Yeah. I mean, he's either going to get fired or he's going to retire here, or I guess he could leave. Okay, 3 options: he could leave, he could fired, or he could retire. And
2 of those are really good for Mizzou.
Yeah. My worry. Well, let me back up. I am completely on board with extending Eli Drinkwitz. Whatever you think of him, it is much better to deal with what you already know than roll the dice and deal with something that you don't know.
100%.
Especially in this field. Now, I don't know what the limit on Missouri's investment into a football coach staff roster is. I don't know how close we are to it, and I don't know what it is. Would I have preferred to keep Eli Drinkwitz here for not an extra $4 million a year or whatever it ends up being? Yes. I'd rather take some of that and put it into players, but I also want to keep the guy here. I have a problem with, these coaches, boosters or schools believing that the individual coach is like a god. Like he is the guy who can fix it and no one else can. And therefore he must be compensated at a godly level. I don't think that's necessary. The NFL's got it right, but then again, when you have an NFL matchup, the pictures that you show are the 2 quarterbacks. When you have a college football matchup, 2 pictures you show are the coaches because the player's only here for 4 years, and through a portal, sometimes it's just 2. So I understand that they're very much the face of the program, the face of the state, whatever. But we got to stop with the buyouts, like you said, and paying after 60 days and cranking it up to 10 million. I know inflation is going to be part of that, but let's invest in the players a little bit more, especially since that seems to be the bugaboo with everybody. So I prefer to see some of that money go to players, but whatever. We got them to stick around. You don't know what's going to happen here, and really, you want a clear cut. Either he tanks it and starts winning 4 games a year, or he's ripping off multiple 10-win seasons. That's what you want. You want either one of those because then you got a really good idea of what you need to do. My worry is that he goes 8-9, 8-9, 10, 8-9, 8-9, 11, 6, 8-9, 11. Basically, I'm just concerned that we as a fan base get bored and find 8 or 9 wins a year unacceptable for whatever reason. And then we get anxious and we cut him and then we tank the program. But I also like to think that we're smart, and knowing that there's 1 fewer non-conference game and 1 extra SEC game, it's going to be a lot tougher now. And so I want to have us appropriately acclimate to what could potentially be here. I guess, what do you think is the floor with Eli Drinkwitz going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think this season is kind of established what the floor is. Minus um, minus catastrophic injury, or where which we kind of saw this year. We had the top two quarterbacks go down, one for the season, one for 3 games.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like 5 starters on the offensive line and 5 defensive starters going out, and something like that. I mean, I really think 8-4. If this can be, if 7-5, 8-4 is the floor level there. I think that he's kind of set it what the expectation there, because the offense isn't going to be this bad again. I can't imagine. Now, is the defense going to be as good? Maybe not, but it's going to there's going to be some equilibrium found there. So that's kind of where I see it. In terms of that 8-4, 9-3 kind of back and forth. I mean, you're talking about Iowa, and Iowa has not gotten bored with that. And a big reason is they didn't have the pre-Kirk Ferentz high elite program expectations. They had they won a national championship in like the 70s, like one.
Yeah, with Hayden
but
Fry.
This is not a decades and decades of success type of program. And I'm referring directly to a program to our Northwest that did. And they got tired with 9 wins a season for only 4 years in a row. They got tired with it and they got rid of it. And they haven't won more than 7 in a season since.
Yeah.
And so that's where you get bored, is those type of programs which think that it is a birthright to win a national championship or two every decade. Then you get to the 9-4. Mizzou, it doesn't have that problem, unfortunately, but in some ways, in this case, fortunately, because we're able, I think, overall able to look at it a little bit more rationally than a fan base like that. I think that'll now hopefully Drinkwitz. That's not a problem because Drinkwitz wins more than that, but I think that will keep us relatively sane in the whole thing.
Yeah, I like to think so. You have years where you go up against 4 top 10 programs, and you lose to all 4 of them.
We're going to have those years literally every single year.
There's going to be a lot more of them.
We're going to play.
Vanderbilt is competent now.
We're going to play 4 top 10 programs every single year. I guarantee it.
Yeah. There's too much competence. There's too much talent spread out across the league. I was reading today, like, you talked about, the SEC is so tough, but the bottom of the SEC stinks really bad. Like, look at their combined records. This is what SP Plus is for. The collective talent of the SEC has never been higher. These 3-win, 3-loss, 2-loss, 1-loss, 4-loss teams, we're talking a play or two here or there is the difference there. South Carolina and Lenora Sellers went from being left out of the playoff to whatever you want to call this year, losing to Clemson, losing to not a good Clemson. Like it's microscopic, and the talent has never been higher. That's true for the Big Ten too. But someone has to lose these games. Even if you make the investment, someone's got to lose the games. It's just the parity is crazy. And this is just one of those years where like there was kind of a clear cutoff. But look at Bill's numbers. Like the quality has never been higher. And it's just the difference between 1, 2, 3 and 13, 14, 15 is not as big as it used to be.
No, definitely not. And that's only the parity is only going to increase as more and more programs become see what happened to Indiana and say, please, Lord, give me what you have given them. And, give more resources to bringing in players and you find a really good coach and you can spend a lot of money to bring in players. There's going to be a lot more Indianas. And that when there's a lot more Indianas, that means there's no elite teams because everyone is really good. At least everyone in the top 2 conferences is really good. And that's where it's headed.
It's wild, man. I still maintain that Mizzou in the next 5 years makes it into the playoff. At least once. At some point, he's going to put out a really good roster that just gets lucky. Is good and also gets lucky. Doesn't lose their kicker for the season on an opening kickoff. That is really good, gets lucky, and then gets into the playoff. I believe that. None of that changes. So I want to keep him around to see what happens. It's just going to be a lot tougher. That's just That's why you join the SEC. That's what the money's for. So he seems to be locked in and invested. It seems that the power brokers in the state and the university are locked in and invested, and that's good. You want, what are we calling that? Alignment, right? You want that from top to bottom. And he's going to have some money to play with. We'll see what happens to staff. We'll see what happens to portal additions and losses. We'll see what happens. Does Mizzou get another transfer quarterback? There's a lot of things that you can read the tea on this as we go through. We won't tackle it here because we are going long, but there's a lot of things to watch as we go on and a lot more movement as we get into the offseason. And boy, there's a bowl game we also have to play, by the way, somewhere in there. Any thoughts on that? I know that it hasn't changed much. What are you rooting for, I guess?
I mean, I don't want the Texas Bowl because it's at 9 p.m. on like a school night. Yeah. And it's against a Big 12, and I don't really particularly care about playing any Big 12 teams. Maybe the Arizona teams would be fine, but yeah. Otherwise, I don't care about the location because I'm not going to go. But I just want a fun team, you know, somebody fun. Like, no offense, Wake Forest, that's not a fun team. It wasn't a fun when we played them 3 years ago. It wouldn't be fun to play them again this year. But service academies, not fun. No, I'll pass on that as well.
No more.
Someone fun. That's all I care about.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one. Well, we will see, and we will keep you up to date on rockmnation.com. Just follow us. We'll tell you everything that's going on. But that's the show for today. As always, we appreciate the downloads and the subscriptions. You can leave a comment. You can rate us. We love all types of feedback from you all. You can also follow us on Twitter. I'm at Nate G. Edwards. He's at Burst to Hurst. And, of course, you can follow the Rock M flagship at Rock M Nation and the podcasting outlet at Rock M Radio. We appreciate you tuning in this time. We'll try to do better next time. And until then, MIZ.
ZOU.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and the benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.